Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We are breaking down the mechanics of a highly specific historical blueprint. So we aren't just looking at history itself today, we're actually looking at how history is engineered for the modern digital screen.
Let's dive right into this fascinating source material. What we have here isn't your traditional history textbook, and it's definitely not a primary source document. It's literally a guide. It's a set of instructions designed for an AI video script tool, something like Google Notebook LM. Its entire purpose is to craft a suspenseful, highly engaging narrative about the fall of Constantinople. Think of it as a meta-document, a script for creating a script, and it gives us this incredible window into how dramatic pacing is constructed.
To truly understand our source, we first need to define exactly what it is we're looking at. So, what is a 7-minute video prompt? Well, it's a structured, scene-by-scene blueprint. It dictates not just what happens, but exactly when it happens. The creator of this prompt has taken the sprawling, chaotic history of a massive historical siege and distilled it down into 8 specific scenes. And these are meticulously designed so the pacing naturally fits a very tight 7-minute runtime. It is all about maintaining suspense and visual engagement.
Here is our roadmap for the explainer today. We'll cover the documentary prompt, setting the stage, cannons and prayers, the final assault, and finally, dawn of a new age.
Part 1. The documentary prompt, a chronological skeleton.
This brilliantly illustrates the blueprint of that 7-minute runtime. The prompt itself is titled The Fall of Constantinople, The Turning Point, and it basically commands the creation of dramatic visuals and suspenseful narration. Just look at how it allocates specific timestamps. We hit scene 3 at exactly 1.5 minutes. The emotional midpoint shift at scene 5 happens right at 3 minutes. The climax triggers at exactly 4 minutes in scene 6, and the resolution kicks off at the 6-minute mark for scene 8. It's literally a perfectly calibrated mathematical formula for building a compelling historical arc.
Part 2. Setting the stage, establishing the stakes.
The prompt dedicates the first 45 seconds, that's scene 1, entirely to awe. The instructions explicitly call for an opening panoramic shot of medieval Constantinople, specifically highlighting its towering walls and glittering domes. And notice how the script uses this incredibly dramatic narrator quote to instantly anchor the viewer in the city's ancient grandeur. Before even hinting at a threat, it makes absolutely sure we understand the weight of 1,000 years of history.
Then, right at the 45-second mark, the prompt smartly shifts focus. In Scene 2, we meet the antagonist of this narrative, Sultan Mehmed II. He's described here as the young Ottoman ruler, utterly determined to capture the city. The visual instructions instantly pivot from those glittering domes to maps of Ottoman expansion and a massive army preparing for a siege. The conflict is looming now, and the clock is officially ticking.
It's fascinating to see the deliberate narrative contrast the prompt embeds right here. Scene 3, which runs from 1:30 to 2:15, focuses completely on the legendary walls of Constantinople, really playing up the reputation as impregnable after centuries of failed sieges. But then, immediately in Scene 4, from 2:15 to 300, it introduces the counterforce, the Ottoman secret weapon. It specifically demands the depiction of giant cannons designed by Orban, bringing this thunderous bombardment that literally shakes the very defenses we were just told were unbeatable. It is a flawless setup and subversion executed in exactly 90 seconds.
Part 3. Cannons and prayers, the emotional midpoint.
Now, during Scene 5, which runs from the 3-minute to the 4-minute mark, the prompt director does something super interesting. They actually pause the external, thunderous bombardment to focus entirely on the inside of the city. We get these 3 intensely emotional internal actions. Emperor Constantine XI rallies his people, priests are shown desperately praying in the Hagia Sophia, and the citizens prepare for their final stand. By contrasting those massive cannons outside with the deeply human element inside, the blueprint maximizes the emotional stakes right before we hit the climax.
Part 4. The final assault, action and chaos. Okay, so the prompt triggers the final assault at exactly 4 minutes in. Scene 6 dedicates a full 60 seconds to pure, chaotic action. The visual instructions dictate siege ladders, naval attacks, and fierce hand-to-hand combat. All that suspense that was so carefully built up over the first 4 minutes, it's finally released into a barrage of intense, rapid-fire imagery. The really crucial point here is how the narrator steps back in. While the visuals are going wild, showing the physical combat, the prompt specifically instructs the narrator to build suspense verbally with this exact quote. It reinforces the physical breaking of the city's seemingly impregnable defenses, directly calling back to the setup we saw in Scene 3. It brilliantly bridges the visceral, visual action with the thematic weight of the moment.
In the penultimate scene, running from minute 5 to minute 6, the script delivers the tragic climax. The breach occurs. The prompt instructs the depiction of Ottoman forces literally pouring into the city. It emphasizes the spread of chaos through the streets, and crucially, it dictates the resolution for the city's leader. Constantine XI is shown fighting bravely, but is ultimately lost in battle. The defeat is finalized, which naturally paves the way for the conclusion.
Part 5. Dawn of a New Age. The Resolution.
For the final minute of the video, Scene 8, the chaotic action completely ceases. The visuals transition to Mehmed II claiming his victory. He enters the Hagia Sophia, the very same building where we saw priests praying just 3 minutes earlier in the script, and he converts it into a mosque. The prompt uses this single, incredibly powerful location shift to signal a massive, permanent shift in both power and culture.
And the prompt strictly instructs the narrator to close on this epic summary. It's a bold, definitive statement that neatly wraps up the entire 7-minute historical journey. It leaves the viewer with a profound sense of awe at the sheer scale of the events they just witnessed. Events that were perfectly manufactured by a timed AI framework.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder. As we increasingly rely on AI tools and these highly structured templates to generate educational content, we really have to ask ourselves, how does squeezing the messy, unpredictable reality of a centuries-long empire into exactly 7 perfectly paced minutes shape the way we consume the past? It makes it captivating for sure, but what do we lose in the edit? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating blueprint with me. Keep asking questions and always keep looking at the structure behind the story.